You're about to witness one mother's dramatic and high-stakes fight. But this is no normal custody battle. When this woman decided to leave the FLDS, a fundamentalist sect of the Mormon Church, she left behind her 4 young children as well. After she finally won custody, she went back for them, only to be confronted by a crowd. Here's my Nightline co-anchor, Dan Harris.
This is what happened when a mother tried to retrieve her 4 children from a community dominated by the FLDS, fundamentalist Mormons who practice polygamy. That is Sabrina Tetzner right there in a van, swarmed, the women in their traditional prairie dresses. It was 8 years ago that Tetzner left the FLDS.
Are you Warren Jeffs?
Yes. A group still allegedly controlled by their imprisoned pedophile prophet Warren Jeffs, who's doing time for marrying and sexually assaulting underage girls. When Tetzner decided to leave her husband and quit the church, she left behind her 4 young children.
In the FLDS, the church teaches you that the church owns the children.
Longtime activist and former FLDS member Flora Jessup says she was on the phone with Tetzner during much of the time that her van was surrounded.
They were kicking her vehicle, tried to put chickens into the vehicle.
In the years since Sabrina Tetzner left the church, she has remarried and had another child. But while she did have visitation rights with her other kids, she was only recently awarded full custody. However, when she showed up this past Friday here in this remote desert community along the Utah-Arizona border, the children's aunt, who'd been caring for the kids, refused to hand them over. A crowd formed and the standoff began.
We're not in America anymore, basically.
Oh, no, you just drove off the map when you come here.
I recently visited this community and spent time with Sam Brower, a private eye who's been investigating the FLDS for years and was on scene when the situation with Sabrina Tetzner played out.
So what is life like for FLDS kids?
Very mundane. They don't have toys. They have tools to play with. You don't see any bicycles. You don't see any toys.
Brower, who wrote a best-selling book about his experiences with the FLDS called Prophet's Prey, says little girls here are groomed to be brides to older men, and the boys, they are trained to be workers.
The boys are slaves, basically. Their hope in life is that be assigned some girl that could be their wife.
But the odds are slim, he says, because there are lots of older men here and not enough females to go around, which is why, according to Brower, many young men are simply kicked out or run away.
What happens in your home and with your family and what happens to your loved ones is hell.
When this young man, Willie Steed, who came from a family of 38 children and 3 wives, left the church, he went to live with a foster family who had to teach him how to read.
Dodge.
Close.
Dog? No.
No, that's right. Dog and then...
Dogs.
Good.
He says he got so little education in the church because he'd been put to work starting at age 8.
And you're doing flooring, you're packing rolls of carpet. You're there to work, and they'll work you to the other end.
10 months after he left the church, Willie Steed had begun to reclaim his lost childhood, taking his first roller coaster ride, bouncing on a waterboard, learning how to navigate Facebook.
I've learned that I have the guts to stand up for myself. I learned that I can walk away from life and I can leave everything behind.
Happy birthday.
As he celebrated his 19th birthday, he made a wish for a family of his own. But he was quick to add, not a polygamous family.
We'll stick with one.
This is exactly the kind of future that Sabrina Tetzner is apparently hoping to give her children, the opportunity for a life outside of the FLDS. And as you watch this standoff drag on for hours and hours, you might ask, where were the local police, the marshals service that patrols these 2 towns?
The marshals were no help. They are an extension of this criminal organization.
On my recent visit to the area, I conducted this exclusive interview with Helaman Barlow, who used to be the chief marshal.
My job was to protect the church.
What you're describing is a straight-up theocracy.
Yes, absolutely.
He says the local cops would work hand in glove with church security. They're sometimes known as the God Squad, and while we were in town, we believe they followed us repeatedly.
Right on myself. Can we just ask you a quick question?
Helaman Barlow is now cooperating with federal investigators who say the local governments here are controlled by the church, a charge these members of the town council didn't seem eager to discuss when I showed up at one of their meetings.
It's a pretty serious charge. I would think that you would want to answer it yourselves.
An attorney for that town council later insisted that officials here do not take orders from the church. But it is clear from this incident with Sabrina Tetzner just how loyal many people here are to Warren Jeffs. It was only after the county sheriff called in reinforcements and got a search warrant that the children were finally released and packed inside the van, which then drove off. On her Facebook page tonight, this message: "Thank you, defenders of children and all those involved, to help reunite me with my babies. Our deepest gratitude to everyone who reached out to us."
It's going to be difficult for several months, if not years. These kids have been taught that their mother's a devil, that she's apostate, she's evil, wicked. Their salvation depends on them getting back to the prophet.
But the uproar over Sabrina Tetzner's children shows just how far this community has to go.
So where do you predict things are going?
It could go anywhere. I worry a lot that there could be some kind of violence. That would be Warren's style, to go out in some kind of blaze of glory as a martyr.
For Nightline, this is Dan Harris along the Utah-Arizona border.